Hello, everyone. We are just getting started. I'll let everyone get logged in. Thank you for joining us this morning. Okay, a couple housekeeping. Hi, my name is Karen Linthicum. I am with the Maricopa Small Business Development Center. Thank you for joining us for our Marketing Your Business Part 1, the 6 P's of marketing. Our presenter is Jerry Denniston, and I will turn it over to her in just a second. Today we are heavily using chat. So if you have any questions, comments, I know Jerry wants to make this an interactive session. So put your comments in the chat and those will be taken care of as soon as we can pause. I also want to remind you that there are 2 additional sections of this marketing series. So make sure you go and sign up for the additional 2. They are next Wednesday. And sorry, I can't remember the date of that, the 18th and whatever that Wednesday is after that. So I am going to turn it over to Jerry to go ahead and present.
Thank you, Karen. Thanks a lot. And good morning, everyone. I see people already putting some information into the chat. That's wonderful. So as Karen said, I'm Jerry Denniston. Before I get started with the class, I just want to give a little bit of background on the Maricopa SBDC and the whole SBDC network. I know that the Yavapai SBDC has been promoting this, so I dare say there are going to be quite a few people from the Yavapai County area. So just so that you're aware, there are 10 centers in the state of Arizona. So if you don't live in Yavapai or Maricopa County, then check for the center, and you are not currently an SBDC client, then check for the center that is in your area so that you can contact those individuals for support with your small business. I mean, there's a wealth of information available, and all of these services are low cost to no cost for you. We have 10. Maricopa is the largest center in the state of Arizona, and we provide no cost counseling, resources, and training. And you can see the website here on the screen. So let's get started. I'm going to breeze past this. I've got over 30 years of experience and lots of training in marketing and business planning and strategic management. But marketing's always been my first love. And what we're going to be talking about today is the definition of marketing, marketing's role in your business, and then I'm going to cover the 6 P's of marketing. And then we'll continue on in the next 3 sessions with more detail. But first of all, this is always my first question of anybody I'm talking to. Is marketing the same as sales? And I ask this question because frequently it gets confused. So put in the chat your response. What you think, how would you define marketing versus sales, or do you think they are one and the same thing? This is your first opportunity to answer a question in the chat. All right, so marketing and sales are different. Marketing comes before sales. Cool. Yes. Marketing to me, let me see. Marketing is reaching your target audience, and sales is the actual something, it's going too fast, actual purchase of goods and services. Very good. Okay. Yes. Yes. So here's the definition of marketing from the American Marketing Association, or at least one of them. Marketing is the process and tools by which goods and services move from concept to consumer. So just what you've been saying, it comes before the selling process. And the other thing I'm going to add here is that marketing really is about thinking of your business from the point of view of the customer. And that's sometimes hard for us to wrap our heads around because we're so ingrained in our business and what we do. It's hard for us to kind of flip that around and think about it from the perspective of the customer and what they need and how we serve that need, or what they want, or what's the pain that we're trying to solve, and what's their level of satisfaction with what we're delivering. So that's really the focus that you need to have as you're going through the marketing planning process. American Marketing Association defines it in more detail this way: the activity, set of institutions, and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. So you notice it isn't just for the customers and clients, but it's also for society at large. So that's the goodwill portion of marketing, right? That is all encompassing. So let's talk about what areas of your business that marketing actually touches. And I like to go through this process because even if you are a solopreneur, you're a consultant, or you're developing, you have an e-commerce site, but it's just you in the business. You're wearing all of these hats that I'm going to go through. And if you're in a larger organization, then there are other departments that are responsible for these various areas that we're going to talk about. And marketing actually needs to interact with every single one of them. So first of all, you think about it from product design. Well, even if you're a coffee house, you're coming up with a new drink, all right? Or you're a baker and you've got a bakery. Then you come up with new bread recipes or new muffins or cookies. So those are your product design. And you as the person that's coming up with those new products, you need to be thinking, how's the customer going to respond to this? Is there a demand for what I'm creating? Or am I just doing something that's going to make me feel good, but it's not going to be of interest to my customers? So always develop with the customer in mind. If you're manufacturing, even if you're creating sauces, barbecue sauces or something like that, there's a manufacturing process. If you are creating sheds, metal sheds, there's a manufacturing process. And maybe you've got a team of people who are doing the actual manufacturing, you've developed the design, but the marketing people that you hire that are part of this need to understand what's happening there so that they can tell the story properly when it comes time for the advertising and promotion side. Branding and promotion, that's kind of, yeah, that makes sense. Sometimes in larger organizations, advertising is a separate division from marketing. Marketing then needs to talk with advertising, because advertising is the branding part of it, the logo development, the colors that you're using, all of that is developed by marketing, and advertising then produces all the ads and the promotions, right? Well, you as the entrepreneur need to be thinking about that and think about consistency across all advertising platforms that you use so that your branding is consistent. Same colors, same fonts, same logo being used everywhere. I talked about advertising a little bit, the same thing. If you are running ads online and in print, they need to have consistency in terms of the message that's being produced, that's being sent, and the colors that are being used and the logo that's being used. I see this a lot across different platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. People just don't think about keeping the same brand in terms of covers, cover designs, and logos on all of those platforms. Sales and distribution channels. Marketing needs to be talking to your sales staff. Depending on what kind of business you have, you may be working through merchandisers, right? If you are developing card designs, let's say greeting cards or candles, you don't sell them directly yourself necessarily. You're working through a distribution network of retail stores and maybe actual, what are they called? Not merchandise, manufacturers reps, or someone who's repping your product. Well, the marketing people need to understand that relationship. And you as the marketing person needs to make sure that as you are communicating to your distribution channels, that the message you want about your product is being communicated properly. So that's another key. Customer service, this is really important, especially in larger organizations where you have someone answering the phone for general inquiries. Maybe you've got a staff person that just handles all those customer inquiries that come in. You want to make sure that if you or your marketing team is developing new brochures, new promotions, et cetera, those customer service people need to know, because they're the first line of contact with the customer. And they need to know what's going on so they aren't blindsided. Technology and IT, everything we do is online now, but in a larger organization, you've got it like Maricopa Community College District, we've got an IT department, right? Hopefully marketing is also communicating with the IT department, because if there's new software that's being installed, I had this situation when I worked at the Union Tribune, where they were providing a new software for all the advertising and the marketing department and the advertising department, because they were creating the ads in-house. Well, it turns out community relations, where I worked, we also created ads. We created free ads for all the nonprofit events that we were sponsoring. And we were doing those inside the community relations department, not through advertising or marketing. And so I had to go to the IT department and say, hey, we need that software too. So this is where IT comes in. And as a smaller organization, if you are installing new software through, this covers, if you're e-commerce, you need to make sure the website is working properly, that your email marketing platform is communicating with your website, that all your online social platforms are working properly. Everything's got to be integrated and branded properly. Then we've got hiring. Larger organizations, you may have someone, even a 10-person or 20-person organization, you could have someone who's in charge of hiring for you. They need, as they're talking to new potential employees, they need to understand and be able to communicate the latest information about the brand, the message, especially if you've gone through a new rebranding process. Then we've got budgeting and finance, and this isn't necessarily last, but every marketing plan usually comes with some kind of a budget. It used to be, rule of thumb was you spent 2% of your gross sales on marketing. Well, now it's closer to 20%. There's so much noise out there between all the online platforms plus the traditional marketing that you now have to spend upwards of 15 to 20% of your gross budget on marketing just to rise above all that noise and be seen and heard by the potential customer. So marketing, as far as I'm concerned, really is an integral portion of your entire business operation, and it needs to be communicating with all aspects of the business. And you, as an entrepreneur, a sole business owner, are actually wearing all these hats, whether you realize it or not. And if you're working with virtual talent, then you're hiring other people to provide that information for you. And it's important that you have ongoing team meetings and communication about the brand and the marketing strategies going forward. So let's talk now about what I call the 6 Ps of marketing. When we go through college and marketing courses, we always learn about the 4 Ps of marketing: product, service, price, place, promotion. What would you say, another opportunity for you to put something into the chat, what do you think would be the other 2 Ps of marketing? And that's a clue, they both start with P. People, good, yes, that's perfect, Ashley. Yes, people is one of them. And I always add proof, because this is the piece that most of us as marketing people, a lot of us as marketing people aren't really good at the analytics side of it, right? The fun part is creating. The fun part is doing explain why place. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to go through each of these 6 Ps actually. So we'll get some definition going on this. But yes, absolutely. People and proof. So let's move forward. Product or service, pretty, this is the color, the shape, the design. This is what that looks like. This is, and if it's your service, then it's what kind of service that you're providing to the customer. And so that's pretty self-explanatory. This also, as far as I'm concerned, it also it relates to your positioning in the marketplace. And positioning sometimes is a really hard thing for people to wrap their arms around, which is why we're going to get into positioning next, because this to me really determines how you price your product and where you sell your product based on where you are positioned in the market vis-a-vis your competition. So another opportunity for interactive commentary here. How would you define positioning? Positioning is the blank that is blank about you compared to blank in the eyes of blank that makes them want to do business with you. So how would you fill that in? Positioning is what? If anybody can, if anybody's got any ideas, okay, in the eyes of the consumer, yes, perfect. That was good. So you got that one right. And I'm going to move on in the interest of time. So here's the definition. It's the one thing, and competition is one. Yes, that's right. And it is hard. I mean, someone said this is hard. It is, because this is really something that you need to wrap your head around. And it was difficult for me when I first heard this. But it is the one thing that is better, different, or unique about you. And this is really important. What is better, different, or unique about you compared to your competition in the eyes of your customers that makes them want to do business with you? So this is something you need to spend a lot of time, and it is vital to consumers. We need to be one step ahead of the competition. Yes, and you need to understand from the point of view of the consumer why it is they're choosing to do business with you versus the competition, because they also have a lot of choices. But there's one thing that sets you apart from your competition, and this is your differentiating factor. This is what makes you unique. And so that's really what you need to wrap your head around. There are 5 areas of positioning, and these are kind of cover the gamut of the different areas of positioning. And then we'll play what I like to call a positioning game. It's really a tagline game, but personal choice is one of these. So these are organizations that offer a wide variety of choice. It's tailored, customized to the individual, a huge selection of products, and mass customization. That would be personal choice. And someone might choose that because they might choose to do business with a company because of that wide variety of choice and customization. Caring service. So this may be actually the reason that someone chooses to do business with somebody. Even if the price is higher, it's because of how they feel they are served by that company. It's the values, it's the emotional empathy that they get from the company, from working with that organization. Quality, it may be totally based on quality, and people are willing to pay a higher price because they want the highest quality product. It's authentic, it's durable, it's going to last a long time. I mean, I can tell you, I waited to buy a Henredin dresser, and I kept my clothes on the floor of my closet until I could afford to buy the Henredin dresser, because it was out of my price range. I could have gone to Walmart and gotten something for $100, but I spent $1,000 and I saved up the money because I wanted quality. That was 30 years ago. I still have that Henredin dresser. So it's lasted forever. And that was a decision I made. So that's an example of purchasing quality, choosing quality as the positioning. Total cost or price. There are a lot of people that are simply price shoppers. All things being equal, they're going to choose the low cost leader, or they're going to deliberately choose something of higher price, because they have a perception that if it costs more, that it's got to be better. And my one example that I have of this is a good friend that you know, is a wine connoisseur, and her house wine is, you know, minimum price is $35, and it goes up from there. And she buys $100 and $200 bottles of wine all the time. And her attitude is that can't pay less than $35 because it just doesn't taste good. We've done blind taste tests with her. We've wrapped the bottles, and we've brought in our bottles from Trader Joe's that we paid $6 and $7 for. And she's gone, wow, this is really good wine compared to her $35 bottle of wine. Didn't change her opinion, but just as an example, you can buy good quality merchandise at a low price. You just have to be discerning about it. Responsiveness is another. It may be, you know, sometimes we choose responsiveness because we really need it now. That's what Amazon's all about, right? You may not necessarily get the best product, but you will get it tomorrow. And so if you absolutely need to have it tomorrow, then Amazon is a place to purchase your products. So these are the 5 areas: personal choice, caring service, high quality, or innovation. And this is an opportunity now for playing what I call this tagline game. And the reason I use the taglines is because a lot of these big organizations, big companies, spend hundreds of thousands of dollars just doing all of this research and coming up with a tagline that basically gets the message across about the brand and what's the, you know, what's the it factor for that organization. And, you know, Nike's Just Do It. That's, I mean, they boil it down to about 3 or 4 words, 5 at the most. So we're going to play this game. So personal choice, and I've put these under personal choice. I'm loving it. Whose tagline is I'm loving it? If you can put that in the chat. McDonald's. That's not who I had in mind, but let me just see. You're right. I'm loving it. McDonald's. Yes. Good for you. Okay. How about Your World Delivered? UPS. Close. It's AT&T. Yeah, AT&T, interestingly enough. How about we go into caring service? Can you hear me now? Everybody should get this one. It was drummed into our heads. Yes, Verizon. How about You're in Good Hands? Allstate, correct. Correct. Okay, high quality innovation, the ultimate driving machine. That's one we all ought to know too. BMW, correct. Because I'm Worth It. Pantene, no. L'Oreal, correct. There we go. Yes, women should know this. Well, I mean, most of us. Anyway, L'Oreal, Because I'm Worth It. Total cost, always low prices. Who's got always low prices? Walmart. That's really, yes, it's all about low prices. Right store, right price. This might be a little bit more challenging. Okay, yeah. Right store, right price. Kroger's fries. That may, you know, some do better with taglines than others, and Fry's and Kroger are maybe not so, haven't really drummed it into our heads. Oh, I already gave you the clue here on relax. It's, you know, FedEx. And that's because it's FedEx delivers overnight, or say they will deliver overnight. What about Zoom Zoom? Anybody? They haven't used it in a while, but it's Mazda. There we go. Karen got Mazda. Okay. So anyway, the reason for these is this is part of their positioning, right? They've done all this research, they determined the positioning, and they've come up with really short taglines. So ideally, if we had time, and I can't see a clock here, I would, and my phone isn't there, 10:25. I would have you spend a little bit of time trying to figure out where your where you think the positioning is for your business, right? So remember, you can be first in your marketplace in one of these, and your customers expect you to be effective in all of them. So even if they purchase and they choose you for caring service, they expect to get wide variety. They expect high quality and innovation. They expect a reasonable cost, and they expect responsiveness. So that's forcing us to actually be able to deliver on all of them. But your true uniqueness, your differentiating factor is actually one of these. So which do you think is the primary reason your customers choose you? And here's another thing about this. You can change this over time. You can't do it immediately. It takes a while because it takes a long time, and it would take a lot of advertising and drumming it into the heads of the consumers that you're changing that positioning. Because if you have come from high cost and you're going to change to quality, or you've come from low cost perception, people think, it's really cheap, it's not really good quality material, I'll buy it because it's less expensive, but it's not something I would buy for quality, and I know it's not going to last me. And you're making a change over time, that you are putting more quality materials into what you're developing, into the product that you're producing, and therefore the price may also go up as a result. You are changing your positioning, and it takes a long time to change the customer's mind. So keep that in mind. It is possible over time to do that, but basically your customers have it embedded in their head that subconsciously that there's a reason they're buying from you versus the competition. And it's important for you to understand what that is. So if you can take a few minutes, maybe not now, but I would recommend you spend some time just thinking about this. And if you have a team of people, have a conversation in front of a whiteboard, and bring your team together and talk about, what do we think our positioning is in the marketplace, and who are our competitors, and how do we stack up against them, and be as brutally honest as possible, so that you can really gain an understanding. That really drives it home for you and takes you a long way in the process of beginning to formulate a marketing plan for yourself. All right, let's move on to another P. This is price. And this is pricing your product or service within the range that your target audience is willing to buy, right? There's a certain range they're willing to go, and you can play around with pricing and figure out, where you are moving that needle. But price is one important area, and you sometimes you price your product with generating 20% margin or 5% margin, depending on the industry that you're in. Sometimes the margins are really, really slim, and you're lucky to have a 2% margin. Other times the margins are really big, and you can have 120% margin. It all depends on what industry you're in. Place. Now, this is a question that came up before, what I meant about place. This is where and how you sell your product. So even if you're e-commerce, then your place is online, right? If you've got a Shopify store and all your products are on your Shopify website, then that's where your place, that's the place. That's because you're selling online. If you are retail, if you're a bakery and you have a retail store, then that's your place. And you're selling your product, probably you have a website, you got to be online as well to promote the new baked goods, and you've got email, but you're driving people to the store. So place is where and how you sell your product. And this would include distribution channels. If you are producing artwork or cards or candles and selling through retail stores, than the retail stores. You are selling wholesale to the retail stores, and they are your distribution channels. So that would be place. So name 3 distribution channels that you might use. It has to be blend of all these, I believe, Abby says. So in terms of place, Abby, is that what you're talking about? Because it is a blend, you're right, because we have to be online, right? Even if you have, in context to positioning, yes, okay, in context of positioning, it is a blend because you do have to be effective in all of them, but in reality, the consumer is choosing you based on one of those areas. And so there's one that rises above. So even if quality is important and price is important, there's one that rises above that makes you unique. And coming, that takes some thinking to come up with where that uniqueness is and what it is. So place, online, retail store, word of mouth, yes. Google website, all of those. Yes, good. Affiliates also. Affiliate marketing is big. Referral marketing is another opportunity. And social media influencers. So these are new as well, but these would be other distribution channels. Having vending machines, there you go, for place, yes. If you're producing some kind of something that is sold in a vending machine, absolutely, that would be one of your distribution channels. All right, let's talk about promotion. These are all the promotional tools that you use to let your customers know about your product or service. So what are some promotional tools that you could be using? Social media, absolutely. Flyers, yes. Targeted ads, absolutely. Both in print and through Google. Yeah, flyers are great. Coupons, absolutely. Those are great. Word of mouth again. Yes, that's great promotion. Anytime you get word of mouth promotion. Don't overlook blogs. Networking, absolutely, both in person and online networking. Blogs, press releases, and articles, writing articles. If you can get an article in the local paper, or that you a monthly or a weekly article that you can write, that's huge. That's third-party credibility. And you're published, right? So that, sending out press releases, if you're launching a new product, if you're doing a special event, send out a press release to the local media. You never know who's going to pick it up. A lot of times the media is starved for information. Establish good relationships with all the online media outlets, because they're always looking for information to print. And blogs, if you're good at writing, if you don't feel comfortable writing, you can hire someone to write the blog article for you. But blogs generate a lot of traffic to your website. So that's another excellent tool. And direct mail. ChatGPT for blogs, yes, absolutely. Just if you use ChatGPT or any AI tool to write your blog, just make sure that you have checked the links, you've where that information showed up. ChatGPT doesn't care, and you also need to customize it. Change the voice, wordsmith it, make it your own, because otherwise you could be actually, if you just copied and pasted that into a blog, you could be using copyrighted material, and ChatGPT won't tell you that. Bing Chat will give you the links, so you can explore Bing as another alternative option. I also want to talk about direct mail, because direct mail, we're getting so little mail, physical mail in our mailboxes. The direct mail actually works now again, because everything's gone online. So, so consider direct mail. That's another opportunity. People, this is your target customers and the customer service that you provide through your employees. That's really, really important. Your employees, if you run a restaurant or a coffee house and you have a disgruntled staffer, someone who is rude to your customers, They can only have to be rude to one customer. That customer goes and talks to all of their friends and say, hey, you don't want to go there. They've got really lousy customer service. You're going to lose customers, right? So you need to make sure that you've got happy employees. Happy employees make a happy workplace, make a really successful, make the customers happy and are likely to come back to visit you more often. So feedback from both your customers and your employees is really important. How many of you actually do surveys, both customer surveys and employee surveys, if you've got employees? Any of you doing customer surveys? I highly recommend you do that. I'll keep going, but yes, for customer. Okay, good, Ashley. So let's talk about proof. And this is how you track your marketing activities to determine what is and isn't working. And this is really important. And this is the piece that sometimes we fall short on. It's the analytical side. Good. CJ, you complete Google reviews. That's really important. And that's another way to get a survey. If you don't do a survey, just ask your customers and make it really easy for them to give you a review on Google and Facebook. And if you're running and if you are in a restaurant or a bakery or a hotel, then Yelp is going to be important too. Although there have been some issues with Yelp and what is it? TripAdvisor. Get the TripAdvisor reviews. Ask for those reviews for sure, because people check out those reviews. All right, proof. This is how you track your marketing activities, as I said. So here is where, if you're in a large organization, let's say you're running a hotel, right? Chances are there's a sales department, that's the catering and sales, right? You want to talk to them. There's also a finance manager, the budget manager, whoever's in charge of the finances for the hotel. You want to work with them and you want to get specific numbers because you just ran a marketing campaign to get more people to come to the hotel. Maybe it's a special weekend getaway or something. Well, you want to find out how that went, and they're the ones that have those numbers. And that's where you can get that information. If you're an independent solopreneur, you need to put some processes in place so that you can actually track what worked and what didn't in terms of your marketing promotion. So there are ways to do this. If you're doing email marketing or you're running online ads, you could do what's called an A/B split test. So you could produce two ads that look almost identical, but you change one thing. So maybe the picture of the, and usually if you use a girl, if you use a female or a child or a dog or a cat, you're going to get more eyeballs on your ad than if you use a male. Just research has proven this, but definitely you could change out the photo, but you'd only change the photo in one of them. You could change the headline color and you'd only change it in one. And that would be the A/B split test. So you'd run them both at different, basically everything else would be the same, right? You'd run them in the same, on this, the same platforms. If you're running them in the paper, you'd run them both in the paper. You'd see which one actually gets the better results. And then you just keep that one going. So that's one way to do that. And you can do this with landing pages for events and special promotions. You can do it with your email messages, and definitely with your ads. The other is the analytical evaluations to determine the cost. Run it at the same time. Yeah, it'd be a little costly. Or run one for 1 week, Rosalba, and then run the different ad the next week, right? If you're running them, let's say you're running the ads in the paper, or even if you're doing a Google ad series and you're purchasing ads to run consecutively, then run the one ad 1 week, swap it out, and run the different ad the next week and see what kind of response you got. You're going to have to do that though over time, because just because you switched them out 1 week to the next isn't going to give you enough feedback to know, was it because the season, was it really the ad, or was it that people didn't have enough time to see it? I mean, there are a whole bunch of things that you need to test. So running that for a month at least is going to give you much better feedback than just testing and saying, I did or I didn't get any response 1 week to the next. But yes, you could run them simultaneously in different locations, or you could run them consecutively. So the analytical evaluation, if you're running Google ads or Facebook ads, you get all kinds of really good analytics, even on Instagram, I think LinkedIn as well. So you'll get the analytics of who's coming, who's seen your ads, how many, if they clicked on the link, all of that information you will get. If you're running ads in the paper, then you've got to put some kind of a code in there, that and ask people if the objective is to get people to bring in a coupon to the store, then you can track the coupons. And you need to know that that coupon came from one piece of media versus another piece of media, right? So you've got something different on each of those coupons that tells you. So there are different ways of tracking the analytics, but those are things you have to set up ahead of time depending on where you're doing your promotion. But this is the analytical side that's really important to track so that you know what is working and what isn't working. After sales follow-up surveys, you can either do that at the point at the register. You can ask the customer, how was everything today? Did you find what you needed? Is there anything that, anything that you didn't find that you'd like? Get that kind of informal information. Or you can have a little card that you put in everybody's shopping bag to ask them to please go online and do a Google survey, a Google review or a Facebook review. You can send a survey out after the fact via email, but you have less likelihood probably getting a response right then, via email. And then, but the customer information cards at checkout, 3 questions, nothing more. Those are really important in gathering that information from the customer. Also important when the customer comes into the store, if you have a retail store, a restaurant, or something like that, how did you hear about us? You want to know how they heard about you. Was it word of mouth? Was it an ad they saw in the paper? They bring in a 2-for-1 coupon, then you know how they heard of you, right? So all of that is really important because that's going to give you the ammunition you're looking for. And then here's another way to measure your return on investment. This is for online advertising. And this is just a handy little calculator, but you could say, on a particular product, identify what the product is. This is just an image, so you can't actually do anything interactive with this right now, but you can use this link and go to the online advertising guide, where it says where I found this, put in the amount that was generated that you garnered from that particular promotion, and then how much did you spend? So let's just say you sold $3,000 worth of whatever product, service, whatever, and you spent $2,000 in advertising. Well, your ROI was 1,000. But if you only generated 1,000, but you spent 2,000, then your ROI was not, right? It was just the opposite. But it'll give you an idea. And over time, as you do this for a wide variety of products, different promotions that you're doing, you'll see what it's actually costing you to generate every new customer. And that's the importance of this for all your digital ads, for paid search, social media, that sort of thing. So that's the final piece of proof. And I'm happy to answer any more questions. We went faster than I thought. So any other questions about what we've covered? Because next week we're going to go into planning, and we're going to talk about a 5-step marketing plan. You'll get a handout for that as well that you can begin to fill out and work on the planning component of your marketing strategy. So any other questions that anybody has? And if not, then I'm going to go through a couple of slides regarding the SBDC and how you can connect with us. Things like Angie's List. Okay, Angie's List can be very useful. And I think Thumbtack is another one. So yes, if you are, I guess they also cover medical, naturopathic, doctors, that sort of thing. Thumbtack is really more for handymen, plumbers, electricians, that sort of thing. And there's a cost associated with that. But being on Angie's list sort of gives you the third-party credibility. I don't know, I know they've opened it up so that it doesn't cost the consumer anything to review if they're looking for someone, but you could explore that, May. That would be definitely a possibility. See if that works. And there are other lists that you might want to explore as well, and just see if being listed in any of those is worthwhile. And the other thing that you might consider for online advertising and promotion, two other platforms, Nextdoor and Alignable. Both of them are supposed to be, neighborhood related, and they may or may not, but there's a lot more advertising on Nextdoor that I'm seeing, but you can buy products on Nextdoor. You can list your products on Nextdoor. Facebook Marketplace is another place also where you can do some promotion and list some products. So those are some other options. Okay, let's look here. As a new business local here in Phoenix, having issues finding customers on Thumbtack, but I'm on the fence when it comes to Angie's and other platforms. I am, however, on a few different sites such as Local First. Local First Arizona is a good one. They've got good networking and there could be some opportunities. And MyHub Phoenix, that's a good one as well. Nextdoor, LinkedIn, and a few others. Okay, so Raul, I don't know what company you're in, but if you're an SBDC client, talk with your counselor about some strategies that you can use that would be beneficial for the business that you're in, because all of those are good, but you may also be missing out on some platforms, and there may be some opportunities depending on the kind of business that you're in. Pressure washing business. Okay, well, that stimulates some, I'd have to put my thinking hat on, but yes, and again, it all depends on commercial or residential. What's your Facebook for your business? Oh, it's Denner Group is mine. My Facebook page. I also have a Facebook page just for Jerry Denniston. If you look me up, you'll find me. Let me see. And both commercial and residential, Raul. Okay, so there are different strategies for both of those. And I would say talk with your SBDC counselor for some ideas, do some brainstorming with whoever your counselor is. And May gets asked all the time for pressure washers. So Raul and May, you need to talk to one another. Any tools to identify how one is different than the competition, the brainstorming. Shauna, let me think about that. There could be some tools that you could use. I need to, let me give some thought to that. Write that down. Brainstorming tools. And I'll do some research on competitive. You're looking for competitive, identify how one is different from the competition. So you're really looking for your positioning. Okay, good. I'll do some research on that. And I'll have Karen send that out to everybody. Also on HOAmanagement.com. Okay, well, that's good. So that means the homeowners, they're going through the HOA there, Raul. And Ali and Raul, you need to connect as well. So good. This is great. We've got some connections going on. Super. Yeah, you should be talk to everyone in the drop down so that everyone can see what you're saying. So let me move on while we have just a little bit more time here. So if you are not a client yet of any SBDC, then look up the SBDC in your location. But in the Maricopa County area, it's this address, maricopa-sbdc.com. You'll get registered. Once you are registered, Karen is the one that usually sees your application, and then she will assign you to a counselor, one of our counselors. And then that counselor will reach out to you for your initial counseling session. And then based on how that went, you'll decide on follow-up sessions. The goal that the SBDC counselors have is to really establish a long-term relationship with you. We're not looking for these one and done, answer a question and then on to the next person. We really want to build a relationship because our goal is to help you be successful in your business and help you grow from startup to really successful entrepreneur, small business owner. And then throughout that process, we'll be tracking your business goals. What progress are you making, and asking you for feedback and for some information in terms of the sales growth, jobs that you've created, investments that you've made in your business, that sort of thing. That's all part of this whole process of working with the Small Business Development Center. And you get access to all the resources, a lot of the resources that we have access to ourselves. So tremendous amount of free resource material. We can do some research for you as well, and provide some tools like a business planning tool to help work with you on your business plan. All of that is available to you through the SBDC. So if you're not a client, then please do go to maricopa-sbdc.com and sign up if you're in Maricopa, or go to your nearest SBDC. And this has been a great session. I really am excited about all of the networking we see going on and the interaction. This has been super. So thank you so much, everyone. And in Yavapai, okay, it's yc.edu/SBDC. So please go online and register if you are not registered. And if you are, then reach out to your counselor. And you can email, okay, everyone who wants to become part of networking, email ali@itmsc.net. That's perfect. Cool. All right.
Perfect.
Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Jerry. And don't forget to, CJ posted the links in the chat for the next 2 sessions. You can also access those on our website, which is maricopa-sbdc.com under training. And then this recorded webinar will be on our site by end of day tomorrow, probably by end of day today, but let's not get crazy. So anyway, thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Yes, I can mail these slides out.
Cool. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Good job.
Great interaction.